Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd and Julie Chrisleys admit to troubles adjusting to life after prison. Todd and Julie Chrisleys famously saw an early release from prison thanks to a presidential pardon. Since then, however, they've been sharing what their time was like behind bars with various outlets. In a recent share, the Chrisleys Knows Best stars have made surprising claims about what it was like adjusting to the outside world since their release. Todd and Julie Chrisleys became known to fans through the USA Network series, Chrisleys Knows Best. In 2022, however, the two were convicted of various charges, including tax evasion and bank fraud. This led to the couple getting sentenced to a combined 19 years behind bars. Back in May, however, the couple saw an early release thanks to a presidential pardon from President Donald Trump. Following their release, Todd and Julie have been sharing their story with various outlets. Recently, Todd and Julie talked about their release on their podcast series, Chrisleys Confessions 2.0. During the conversation, they shared that they've actually had some difficulties adjusting to life in the outside world, despite their early release. Julie noted that she spoke with other women in her position. She shared, "I've actually talked to a few of the women that I was in prison with that are already home. And we all have this general consensus that it's kind of weird to even say it." Todd reassured her, "No, it's not weird. Life is rougher than prison life. I mean, that's a sad thing to say because it is so horrific, the conditions that you're there for, but that's from a physical standpoint. But from an emotional and psychological standpoint, it is harder dealing with day to day." Julie then highlighted how inmates have a lack of control in their lives during their time in prison. She shared, "There's very little you can do because you're in prison. And people told me this when I first got there. You can't live out there and in here at the same time because it'll literally run you crazy. And the longer you're there, the more removed you become to the world." The Chrisleys Knows Best matriarch continued, noting that inmates eventually get accustomed to their new lives. She added, "The longer that people are away from their kids, as crazy as it sounds, because it's a double-edged sword, the easier it becomes because you get into your own routine." That said, the couple shared that they were grateful to get a pardon. Todd even noted how it made the transition easier than if they just finished their set time. He explained, "We didn't have to go to a halfway house. So we don't have to answer to a probation officer. We're not limited as to where we can go and how we can move. So I think we were thrown right back into the real world." Did you watch Todd and Julie Chrisleys during their recent podcast episode? Make sure you come back to for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. The Chrisleys family, once synonymous with Southern charm, extravagant living, and perfectly curated family banter, has found itself at a crossroads that no one saw coming. Todd and Julie Chrisleys, the stars of Chrisleys Knows Best, are back in the headlines. But this time, it's not about real estate ventures, snappy one-liners, or lavish Nashville living. Instead, it's about survival, humility, and an unflinching honesty about life after prison. In a candid sit-down with those closest to them, Todd and Julie admitted that adjusting to life post-prison has been one of the hardest journeys of their lives. For a couple who once proudly showcased their life of affluence and control, the transition has been deeply humbling, even shocking at times. "We don't recognize ourselves anymore." For years, Todd Chrisleys was the picture of confidence, sometimes bordering on arrogance, according to critics. He built his reputation as a man who always had an answer, always had a plan, and never, ever admitted defeat. Julie was the steady counterpart, the elegant Southern wife who managed her home and her children with equal parts grace and strength. But after serving their respective prison sentences, both admit their lives have shifted in ways they can't even fully put into words. There are days I look in the mirror and don't recognize the man looking back at me. Todd confessed to a close friend, his voice reportedly cracking. You go from a place of control, running a business, raising a family, making decisions every single day, to having every decision made for you. Even after prison, that control doesn't come back easily. There's a part of you that stays there. Julie echoed the sentiment, though she took a softer tone. I thought when I walked out, I'd feel relief, like a huge weight was lifted. Instead, I feel different. Everything is louder, faster, harsher. Even grocery shopping feels like stepping onto another planet. It's like I'm watching the world move on, and I'm still catching up. Facing the public stare. If there's one thing Todd and Julie both underestimated, it was the power of public opinion. They went into prison with cameras flashing, headlines swirling, and social media dissecting every moment of their downfall. Coming out hasn't been any quieter. People look at you like you're wearing a sign around your neck, Todd explained to a family friend. You can feel it. At the airport, in restaurants, even at church. Some are supportive, some are cruel, and others just stare. You don't know what's worse, being judged or being pitied. Julie, always known for her warm demeanor, said the hardest part has been regaining a sense of normalcy. I just want to go to a farmer's market without wondering who's whispering behind me or pulling out their phone. It's exhausting to feel like your whole life is still on display when all you want is to blend in for once. Family dynamics tested. While Todd and Julie were incarcerated, their children stepped into new roles. Savannah Chrisleys, in particular, became a parental figure overnight, taking care of her younger siblings and managing family affairs. Now, with their parents home, there's a shift happening, and not all of it is smooth. You'd think we come home, hug, and everything would go back to normal, Todd admitted. But it doesn't work like that. Savannah has grown into her own person. Our kids had to learn to live without us, and now we're figuring out where we fit into their lives again. It's bittersweet. Julie added, I missed birthdays, graduations, and quiet moments that I'll never get back. I thought coming home would fix that ache in my heart, but it hasn't. It just reminds me of how much I missed. That's something I carry every day. Simple things feel foreign. Both Todd and Julie have spoken about how the small things most people take for granted, have been some of the hardest to readjust to. For Todd, it's technology. I came out and felt like I'd stepped into the Jetsons. I couldn't even figure out how to unlock Savannah's car because it doesn't use a regular key. Phones apps, even TVs, they all feel different. It's crazy how fast the world moves when you're standing still. For Julie, it's about choices. You don't realize how overwhelming choice is until you haven't had it for a while. In prison, you don't choose your meals, your clothes, or your schedule. Now I walk into a grocery store and freeze because there are 20 types of bread. It's silly, but it's real. Mental and emotional struggles. Beyond the practical challenges, the emotional toll has been significant. Todd and Julie both admitted to struggling with anxiety, mood swings, and a constant feeling of being on edge. Todd revealed that he still wakes up at night thinking he's in his prison cell. I'll wake up and reach for a light switch, then freeze because for a moment I think it's gone. It's in those moments you realize how much prison rewires you.